evening, everybody, and happy Father's Day to everybody out there. Happy grandfathers if you're a grandfather. Anyhow, we're here to do some Canadian history lesson. Yes, a Canadian history lesson. Triumph and Rexx amps, Rexx acoustics. Yes, this is a fine 45-watt combo that I picked up last week for a great price. A great price because you know what? No one really knows what these things are, and they were built back in the 80s by a gentleman named George Grampera, and Rexx Acoustics. He started out in Toronto area, out in Markham, Ontario, and that's where I met him through a bunch of guys at a Mississauga store, music store called Music City, who knew Rik Emmett and a bunch of other people that were affiliated with Triumph. Rik just left Triumph at that time, and he got on board with these amps, which are all solid state, and they started off with basically a bunch of rack mount units, which I have a few of here. I have about 3 Rexx rack mount units, and basically they were the forefront of rack and power amp systems, kind of like the ADAs. And in my opinion, the ADA kind of did in Rexx because that was the big amp that came up just after Rexx back in the 80s, and that was MIDI programmable and everything else. This wasn't. This was very bare bones, channel switched, hard switched effects loops, and really no nonsense amps. And this one in particular we're going to look at today. We're going to probably do a couple more videos on my preamps. You can see one back here in my rack back here. But these amps were used a lot, and he moved from Markham, Ontario, out to Canmore, Alberta, and did his more development out there. But when I knew him back in the Toronto area, we were working on the 610S rack mount, and he used to solder inside my amp while I was playing. We worked on the clean sound and got a very woody kind of clean sound, which this amp kind of has here. It's 2 channels. This one has kind of a nice. A couple nice little features here too. It's also switchable, of course, and it has effects loop right in the front here. So, and I see I've added my handy dandy reverb pedal here. You're hearing a little bit of reverb. What the cool thing about this here, if you can't see it too closely, but it actually has a 9-volt output, so you can power your pedals, put them in the back of your amp if you want to do that, or you can power them. Run cables to the floor if you'd like. But it's kind of a cool little feature if you want to, especially if you just want to stick reverb in there and put a reverb pedal. But yeah, these amps were just a smoking little unit, especially as far as distortion and everything else. I was at Music City in Mississauga. A guy named John McNaught, who used to play in a band called Zon. You know, he was the guy who worked at the store, and he was, you know, for a while before I even knew about this, he told me, would you be interested in this, because I was out touring around and always looking for new sounds, because back in the 80s we couldn't, late 80s, we couldn't find it wasn't as easy as it is today to just go buy a modeling amp and have a Mesa Boogie sound and have a Marshall sound. You know, you had to go out and try and develop that sound yourself. And get it and attain it. So this was the closest thing we could come to. He just said basically, would you be interested in that? And then I said, yeah, sure. And I kind of didn't think of anything about it. Then I came back about a month later, and he says, the amp's here. And I plugged in, and it was just like, wow, that's the sound, right? And it was just incredible that nowadays you can get this sound no problem, but back then it was kind of hard. You know? You can turn that sound right down, right? You can get that sound at a lower volume, and then it really cranks pretty loud. For a 45-watt amp, it cranks pretty loud too. Got a Celestion speaker inside, and basically we used to use them like crazy all through my touring years and everything else, and we basically they held up great on the road. I kind of moved away from tube amps for a while there because in the Canadian winters, going in and out of clubs and keeping them safe and having them break down and having them sound different pretty much night after night was the worst thing. This thing you could just plug into, and it was pretty consistent sound because it was solid state. which is kind of frowned upon, I know. But hey, I picked this up for a good price, and it's going to have a real long life here in my studio and live. And just thought I'd show everybody out there what they are. If you see them out there and you like them, pick one up because they're probably pretty good prices. And if you don't like them and they're still pretty good price, sell it to me because I want more. Anyways, thanks a lot. I just wanted to talk about Rexx's for today, and have a great day. Thanks a lot.